Morgan. The Morgan might just be the horse that proudly trots in last place. But don't worry, the best of the best horse is waiting for us at the very end of the video. In terms of raw stats, it's got 2 out of 10 speed, 2 out of 10 acceleration, 2 out of 10 health, and stamina that barely scrapes a 3. Basically, trying to push this thing through RDR2 is like asking your grandma to sprint a marathon. Admirable effort, but you're not getting far. You can scoop one up at the Valentine stable after Chapter 2, or just wrangle one from the wild. Arthur can find a bay or flax and chestnut wandering around, which is nice if you're broke, but honestly, even the free price tag feels like a scam. Now, in real life, the Morgan is actually kind of legendary. It's one of the earliest horse breeds in America, going all the way back to the 1700s, with a stallion named Figure, later called Justin Morgan. These guys were Civil War cavalry horses, coach pullers, even harness racers. Hardcore stuff. Morgans basically helped shape America's horse history. They even influenced the quarter horse in Tennessee walking horse. And if you don't know, it's basically the state horse of Massachusetts. Imagine being a state's official animal, and then showing up in RDR2 as the tutorial pony. Brutal. So yeah, Morgans are part of history. They're versatile. They've starred in kids' books, even a Disney movie. But in-game, they're the horse equivalent of a starter pistol. Fine for 5 minutes, then embarrassing when you try to use it for anything serious. Kentucky Saddler. The Kentucky Saddler is a slight step up from the Morgan, but it doesn't mean you guys should assume it's galloping into greatness. Stats? 3 out of 10 speed, 2 out of 10 acceleration, 3 out of 10 health, and 2 out of 10 stamina. Basically, it's like your horse just had a big Thanksgiving dinner, and now you're asking it to sprint across New Hanover. You can find them in the wild all over the map, or grab one at the Valentine stable. They come in gray, black, chestnut pinto, and silver bay coats, with the gray even available for purchase. And sure, they're common and easy to tame, which makes them good quick fix rides, but honestly, they're only slightly better than the Morgans. That's like saying warm soda is only slightly better than flat soda. Gameplay-wise, saddlers are chill, laid-back companions for short trips. If all you need is a horse to take you from camp to town without throwing a tantrum, it'll do the job. Just don't expect it to win any races. In real life, though, the Kentucky Mountain Saddle Horse has a much stronger legacy. Developed in eastern Kentucky, these horses were bred as farm work partners and long-distance trail riders. Gentle, reliable, and sure-footed, they were the family-friendly all-rounders of the horse world. Related to the Tennessee walking horse, they even carry the smooth gait of the now-extinct Narragansett Pacer. Even currently, they're still prized as comfortable trail mounts over rugged terrain. So yeah, in history, they're versatile and beloved. But in RDR2, they're the horse equivalent of borrowing your uncle's minivan. It'll get you there, but nobody's impressed. Overall better than Morgan, but still forgettable. Tennessee Walker. The Tennessee Walker is where looks start to deceive. In-game, we have 2 to 3 speed, 2 to 3 acceleration, 3 to 5 health, 3 to 5 stamina. Basically, it depends which one you snag. Some are just slightly above Morgan tier, while others can hold their own on long rides. And style-wise, Tennessee Walkers are some of the best-looking horses in the game. 7 different coat varieties, Red Roan, Black Rabicano, Chestnut, Dapple Bay, all found in the wild. But again, not all Walkers are created equal. The Flaxen Roan variation, for example, shows up in Tumbleweed Stable after the epilogue with 4 health and 5 stamina. The Dapple Dark Gray and Flaxen Roan coats both offer noticeably better stats. Gameplay-wise, the higher-tier Tennessee Walkers are sturdy, healthy, and great for chewing up miles across RDR2's massive map. The weaker ones, not so much. In real life, though, the Tennessee Walker has a rich backstory. They trace back to 1790 when horses from Kentucky, Narragansett Pacers, Canadian Pacers, and Spanish Mustangs were crossed on the limestone pastures of Middle Tennessee. They were bred as all-purpose plantation horses, riding, pulling, even racing. Known for their smooth gaits and sure-footedness, they were dependable on rough terrain. In 1886, Black Allen, later called Allen F1, was born, a horse that failed as a trotter, but became the foundation sire of the Tennessee Walker breed. His descendant, Roan Allen, born in 1904, could perform multiple ambling gaits and became a star show horse, passing that versatility down the line. So yeah, in history they're smooth, stylish, and iconic. In-game, they're the horse equivalent of rolling the dice. Sometimes you get a beauty, sometimes you get a donkey in disguise. Belgian. The Belgian is the first real heavyweight in our list. Stats are nothing crazy. 3 out of 10 speed, 3 out of 10 acceleration, 3 out of 10 health, and 3 out of 10 stamina. But what we need to understand here is that this isn't a racing horse. This is a tank with hooves. Belgians are draft horses, built for power over speed. They're far sturdier than most breeds, and they shine at the dirty work, pulling carts, wagons, coaches, whatever heavy load you throw at them. And for a heavy breed, they're not bad, boasting the fastest acceleration among the draft types. You'll only find them in blonde chestnut and mealy chestnut coats, which makes sense because these boys aren't here to win beauty pageants. Gameplay-wise, Belgians are tough and dependable, but with this thing you cannot chase down bounties. You're basically driving a horse-shaped tractor. In real life, though, the Belgian is royalty in the draft horse world. As the name suggests, they come from Belgium, a country blessed with fertile soil and pastures perfect for raising massive, powerful animals. Their lineage traces back to the Flemish great horses, the same ones that carried armored knights into battle during medieval times. We're talking war horses that existed as far back as Caesar's time, shaping nearly all modern draft breeds. Belgium itself refined the breed through government-backed shows and stallion inspections, making Belgians both a national treasure and an international export. By the late 1800s, Belgian stallions were in demand across Europe, and eventually in America, where the breed took off after appearances at the 1903 St. Louis World Fair and the Chicago Livestock Exposition. So yeah, in history, Belgians are legendary workhorses that once carried knights into war. But in RDR2, they're the horse you pick when speed doesn't matter, and you just want pure muscle. Less Ferrari, more bulldozer. Shire. The Shire is basically the Belgian's bigger, moodier cousin. Stats: 3 out of 10 speed, 2 out of 10 acceleration, 4 out of 10 health, and 3 to 4 stamina. So yeah, plenty of muscle, not much hustle. These things are some of the strongest horses in the game, but their massive size makes them clunky to handle. It's like driving an 18-wheeler through St. Denis traffic. Gameplay-wise, they're great at hauling heavy stuff. Carts, wagons, whatever you hook them up to. But if you're trying to outpace bounty hunters, forget it. You'll be caught before you even leave Valentine. Variety-wise, Shires come in 3 coats: Raven Black, Dark Bay, and Light Gray, all available in the wild. The Raven Black gives slightly better stamina, but again, it's still a draft horse. It's like putting racing stripes on a bulldozer. And same as previous horse in real life, Shires have a long, knight-worthy history. Back in medieval England, they were descended from the legendary Great Horse, the massive war horses that carried armored knights into battle. Henry VIII even outlawed stallions under 15 hands high because he wanted his knights rolling up on absolute tanks. But once gunpowder took over, cavalry needed faster mounts, and these giants got demoted to farm duty. Dutch engineers brought Frisian blood into the mix, creating the foundations of the Shire breed. By the 17th century, they were known as Old English black horses, later refined by breeders like Robert Bakewell into the powerhouse we now call the Shire. By the 1800s, Shires were the engines of industry, hauling carts through cities, moving goods from docks, and basically being the horse equivalent of forklifts. Historically, they're war horses turned workhorses, but in RDR2, they're big, slow, and built for labor, not glory. The medieval knight's tank, downgraded to your farm's tractor. Suffolk Punch. The Suffolk Punch, or as I like to call it, the built Ford tough horse of RDR2. Stats: 3 out of 10 speed, 2 out of 10 acceleration, 3 out of 10 health, and 4 out of 10 stamina. Basically, it's not winning any races, but it will happily drag a wagon across the entire map while Arthur eats canned beans in the back. These things are stocky, compact, and straight-up workhorses. They're made for hauling heavy loads and working all day without complaint. In-game, you'll usually spot them pulling carriages, which is Rockstar's nice way of telling you, yeah, this thing is built for Uber XL. They come in red chestnut and sorrel coats. And while you can catch them in the wild or find them at Tumbleweed and Van Horn stables, honestly, just steal one from a wagon. You can do horse Grand Theft Auto, and nobody's going to miss it. Now, in real life, the Suffolk Punch has some serious clout. It's one of the oldest recognizable horse breeds in England, first mentioned in 1586. Farmers in Norfolk and Suffolk developed them to handle long days in the fields. These beasts were pulling plows, hauling logs, and doing the kind of back-breaking labor that made oxen look lazy. They were also known for being economical to keep, since they could work ridiculous hours without rest. By the early 1900s, there were millions of heavy horses like the Suffolk Punch working across Britain. The breed registry is the oldest in England, and their bloodline stayed pure for centuries thanks to farmers keeping them close to home. So yeah, historically, they're legends of agriculture and survival. But in RDR2, they're the horse you grab when you want to haul cargo, not chase down outlaws. The dependable workhorse, basically the NPC of horses. Appaloosa, the Appaloosa. Finally, a horse that isn't built like a medieval forklift. Stats sit at 3 to 4 speed, 3 acceleration, 3 to 5 health, and 4 to 6 stamina. Basically, it's your reliable everyday workhorse. Not flashy, but dependable enough to get you through long ranch days, or long rides across the RDR2 map without Arthur wheezing about sore legs. Appaloosas are classic ranch horses, healthy, steady, and versatile. The kind of mount you take when you don't know what the game is about to throw at you. You'll spot them mostly in the midwestern parts of the map. Or if you've got the cash, you can pick up the leopard and blanket coats at the stables in Tumbleweed or Van Horn. Those special coats pack slightly better stats. And honestly, they look stylish enough to make you feel like a cowboy influencer on horseback. Gameplay tip though, avoid the lower level ones. They come with weaker speed and health, and the last thing you want is your horse collapsing halfway through a bounty chase. Now, in real life, the Appaloosa has one of the most eye-catching histories of any breed. Leopard-spotted horses have been around for millennia, showing up in Eurasian cave paintings, ancient Greek art, Persian carvings, and even Chinese Han Dynasty records. Medieval France and England loved them too, with nobility showing them off in parades like four-legged sports cars. By the 16th and 17th centuries, spotted horses were a full-on flex in European courts. Louis XIV even had them parading around like they were the Gucci models of the horse world. So yeah, historically, the Appaloosa is flashy, famous, and adored by royalty. In RDR2, it's the safe bet workhorse. Dependable, durable, and with the leopard coat, downright show-off worthy. A workhorse with drip. Nokota. The Nokota is basically the fast but fragile horse of RDR2. Stats range from 4 to 7 speed, 3 to 5 acceleration, 3 health, and 3 stamina. It's quick, it's twitchy, and it's the horse equivalent of glass cannon gameplay. Great when you're zooming across the map. Not so great when a stray tree branch sends you and Arthur flying face first into the dirt. Nokotas handle like proper racehorses. That means if you're just trying to trot peacefully into Valentine, you're fine. But the second you crank it up, good luck steering. These things are harder to control than a GTA motorcycle on rain-slick roads. You'll find them mostly in the west of the map. The blue roan and white roan coats can be caught in the wild. But the real prize is the reverse dapple roan, which you'll need to buy at the St. Denis stable after Chapter 4. That one comes with way better speed, which also looks like it's auditioning for Fast and Furious Frontier Drift. Regarding real life, the Nokota has one of the wildest backstories of any horse in RDR2. They developed in the Badlands of North Dakota when feral herds mixed with Indian ponies, Spanish stock, draft breeds, and even thoroughbreds. By the late 1800s, Theodore Roosevelt himself was writing about these wild herds, calling them as untamed as antelope. Some Nokotas even trace back to horses confiscated from Sitting Bull's Lakota band, later crossbred with racing and draft stallions at the A Ranch. Now there is also a twist in their story, as by the 20th century, ranchers saw them as pests competing for grazing. Thousands were rounded up, sold, or slaughtered. By accident, a few bands got fenced into Theodore Roosevelt National Park in the 1940s. And that's the only reason Nokotas even survived today. So yeah, historically, they're survivors. Fast and scrappy. In RDR2, they're the definition of high risk, high reward. A speed demon that'll save you in one chase, and yeet you into a cactus the next. A horsepower rocket, with the handling of a shopping cart. Thoroughbred? The Thoroughbred. Lean, mean racing machine. Stats? 4 to 7 speed, 3 to 5 acceleration, 3 health, and 3 stamina. Basically, this is the sprinter of RDR2. If you need to burn rubber across a short distance, this is the horse to do it with. But push it too far past endurance, and it'll get clumsy. Like, oops, I tripped over a rock. Clumsy. Gameplay-wise, thoroughbreds are built for speed. Stamina, agility, acceleration. Great for sprints, risky for marathons. They come in 3 coats: brindle, blood bay, and dapple gray. The brindle has the highest speed and can be bought at a stable. The others, only in the wild. And many of you won't know this, but a unique seal brown thoroughbred named Rachel can be obtained at the start of the epilogue. Now, in real life, thoroughbreds basically wrote the rulebook on horse racing. Flat racing existed in England as early as 1174, with 4-mile races at Smithfield in London. By the Middle Ages, racing was already a staple at fairs and markets. Handicapping systems, training improvements, all started to appear under King James I. Then, under Charles II, William III, Anne, and George I, the foundation of the thoroughbred breed was laid. The term thoroughbred was first recorded in 1713, and by 1727, racing had exploded in popularity, enough to warrant its own newspaper, the Racing Calendar. What this means is that thoroughbreds are royalty in the racing world. In RDR2, they're your nitro boost, fast, flashy, but one mistake away from ragdolling into a ditch. The Usain Bolt of horses, but with Arthur's balance. American Standardbred. The American Standardbred, another one of RDR2's racing horses. Stats sit around 4 to 5 speed, 3 to 4 acceleration, 3 to 4 health, and 3 to 4 stamina. Quick, agile, and lean, but not exactly breaking into the top league. These horses are made for speed, great stamina, solid acceleration, and they can keep up a fast pace for a long stretch. Perfect for short distance travel, or those combat moments where Arthur needs to outpace bounty hunters on horseback. But still, even at their best, Standardbreds still pale in comparison to the game's true top-tier breeds. They come in 4 coats: Palomino Dapple, Silvertail Buckskin, Black, and Buckskin. The Palomino Dapple and Silvertail Buckskin are stable-bought, while the Black and Buckskin are wild catches. The Silvertail Buckskin is the strongest of the bunch, but don't expect it to suddenly transform into a Missouri Fox Trotter. Gameplay-wise, think of them as the budget racer. Great for speed, not so great if you actually want durability to go with it. Now, in real life, Standardbreds have some serious racing heritage. They're best known for harness racing, trotting or pacing in competitions across the US and worldwide. Their bloodlines go back to the 18th century England, with foundation stock coming from breeds like the Narragansett Pacer, Canadian Pacer, Thoroughbred, Norfolk Trotter, Hackney, and Morgan. The real cornerstone? A thoroughbred stallion named Messenger, foaled in England in 1780 and imported to the US in 1788. But the true legend was his great-grandson, Hambletonian 10, foaled in 1849. This horse basically became the godfather of the Standardbred breed. He sired over 1,300 foals, and 40 of them could trot a mile in under 2 minutes 30 seconds. You can think of them like picking a mid-tier car in GTA. It'll get the job done, but you're not winning pink slips with it. Solid racer, but not endgame material. American paint. The American paint. The horse that proves fashion really does matter. Stats: 3 speed, 3 acceleration, 3 health, and 4 to 5 stamina. So yeah, not exactly a speed demon, but what it lacks in raw power, it makes up for in stamina. And in looking like it just walked out of a cowboy fashion show. American paints are robust workhorses. They're built to take on pretty much any job. Stamina for days, average speed and health, and a reputation for being intelligent and easy to care for. Arthur will get along with them just fine. Though, to be real, a horse's personality doesn't affect stats in RDR2. It just means taming one in the wild won't feel like wrestling a Dark Souls boss. What really makes paints stand out are those coats. Overo and Tobiano patterns show up commonly in the wild, but there's also a rare splashed white coat wandering the map, if you're lucky enough to find it. And if you're patient, the gray Overo is up for purchase after the first epilogue. Now, in real life, the American paint horse share ancestry with the American quarter horse and the thoroughbred, carrying that muscular, low-to-the-ground build with powerful hindquarters for bursts of acceleration. Back then, when the American Quarter Horse Association formed in 1940, they excluded horses with spotted coats. Fans of the colorful stock type weren't having it. So, in 1965, they merged organizations and formed the American Paint Horse Association to keep the breed alive and thriving. Hungarian Halfbred. The Hungarian Halfbred is basically the tank you can call in when a shootout's about to go south. Stats: 3 speed, 3 acceleration, 4 to 5 health, and 3 to 5 health, 4 stamina. So yeah, it's slow as molasses, but built like a medieval knight's DLC pack. When it comes to battle, a good warhorse is just as important as a trusty revolver. That's where this beast shines. It's strong, sturdy, and comes with a fearless personality that makes it perfect for combat. Sure, it's not outrunning bounty hunters anytime soon, but it'll happily plow through gunfire while Arthur reloads in style. Hungarian halfbreds handle well too. Their large, heavy bodies don't stop them from reacting cleanly under pressure. The downside? They're not as healthy as other warhorses. Think of them as warhorse light. Coat-wise, you'll find flaxen chestnut and piebald Tobiano in the wild, while the dappled dark gray has to be bought at the stable. Now, in real life, the Hungarian halfbred has some serious pedigree. Hungary started breeding them in the 1960s, blending Hanovers and Holsteins with local Furioso and Gidron stock. The Gidron line goes all the way back to 1816, starting with an Arabian stallion named Gidron Sr. His son, Gidron II, became the foundation sire of the breed, mixing Spanish and Arabian blood. Over time, thoroughbreds were added, creating a versatile horse with a powerful gallop, developed at Hungary's chief studs like Mesohagius, Kispur, and Kecskemét. Kispur even produced a Derby-winning horse in 1876, while Kecskemét became known for crossbred driving horses with Lipizzaner and Trotter influence. Halfbreds went on to excel in international four-in-hand driving competitions, racing not only for Hungary but also for Switzerland and Britain. So yeah, less racehorse, more armored truck with hooves. Mustang. Before Mustangs became the go-to car for midlife crises, they were actual horses. And they've also got an interesting history. Modern horses first came to the Americas with Spanish conquistadors. Columbus shipped them over to the West Indies in 1493. Cortés brought them to Mexico by 1519. And by 1598, Juan de Oñate had enough horses in Santa Fe to kickstart a whole breeding explosion. From just 75 animals, his herd grew into hundreds. And from there, wild Mustangs spread across the Southwest like equine squatters who never paid rent. That's how the Mustang earned its place as the symbol of untamed freedom. And in RDR2, that wild streak hasn't gone anywhere. Stats put them at 3 to 4 speed, 3 acceleration, 4 to 5 health, and 4 to 5 stamina. Not the flashiest, but rock solid across the board. Mustangs are versatile. Racing, they'll hold their own. Warhorse, they don't scare easily. Workhorse, they'll haul you through chores without a fuss. Basically, the Swiss Army knife of horses. But the catch here is that Mustangs are not just handed to you. You can't stroll into a stable and buy one. Arthur's got to find them in the wild. Grullo Dun, Wild Bay, and the rare Tiger Striped Bay. They spawn out west and south of Armadillo, but they're notorious for being stubborn to tame. Bringing one under your control feels less like buying a horse and more like unlocking an achievement. And once you do tame one, you've got yourself a fiercely loyal all-rounder. A horse that will stick with you no matter how dumb Arthur's next plan is. Dutch Warmblood. The Dutch Warmblood. Not the fastest horse in the stable, but if Arthur's looking for a dependable workhorse, this one's basically built like a four-legged tank. Stats sit at 3 to 4 speed, 3 acceleration, 4 to 5 health, and 5 to 6 stamina. Average in speed, average in health. But stamina, this thing's a marathon runner. They're sturdy, they're hardy, and surprisingly agile for their size. Need to haul cargo? Done. Long rides across the map without swapping horses? Easy. They're not show-offs, but once you've got one, you don't really need to replace it. The seal brown, sooty buckskin, and chocolate roan coats are all stable options. And if you want something special, there's a unique Cremello Dutch Warmblood you unlock after completing the Veteran side quest. Now, in real life, the Dutch Warmblood has its roots in the Netherlands. Before World War II, 2 regional breeds dominated. The heavier Groningen in the north and the more elegant Gelderlander in the south. The Groningen were chunky draft types, solid and strong. The Gelderlanders, flashier carriage horses with white markings and more refined looks. After World War II, tractors and cars started replacing workhorses, so breeders shifted gears. They imported French, Holsteiner, and Hanoverian bloodlines to reshape the Dutch stock into more versatile warmbloods. That led to the Royal Warmblood Horse Studbook of the Netherlands, the KWPN, which today covers multiple branches, from elegant carriage horses to Olympic-level show jumpers and dressage stars. Overall, his horse is the reliable workhorse. Basically, Arthur's version of a Toyota Hilux. Andalusian. The Andalusian. Slow legs, big guts, and basically Rockstar's idea of a medieval tank, dropped into the Wild West. Stats: 3 speed, 3 acceleration, 5 to 7 health, and 4 to 7 health, 5 stamina. With his beast, you're not outrunning anything, but you are outlasting everything. These horses are compact, sturdy, and powerful, genetically crafted for war. They don't spook easily, they handle well, and when things get messy, they're the kind of mount Arthur actually wants under him. The Rose Grey can be bought at Tumbleweed after the epilogue, the Perlino at Van Horn after Chapter 6, and the Dark Bay and Rose Grey are stable options too. Basically, if you've got the cash, the game will happily sell you one of these. Now regarding their history, it is just as badass. Andalusians trace their bloodline back to the Iberian Peninsula. Cave paintings show their ancestors as far back as 20,000 BCE. Celts, Romans, Arabs, Carthaginians, everyone who passed through Spain left their mark on these horses. By 450 BCE, they were already recognized as talented war horses. They even crossbred with the barb horses of North Africa, making them one of Europe's first warmbloods. Heavy strength mixed with agility. And then the monks got involved. By the 13th century, Carthusian monks were literally keeping stud books and running Andalusian breeding farms. Imagine guys in robes quietly copying scripture by candlelight, and also raising absolute battle horses. So yeah, historically, the Andalusian was a knight's ride. In RDR2, it's Arthur's answer to what if a grizzly shows up while I'm reloading. Not built for races, built for wars. Ardennes. Ardennes. If there is a short intro of these horses, I would say that these are relics of war history strapped to 4 legs. This breed's roots stretch all the way back to ancient Rome. Julius Caesar himself wrote about horses from Belgium in his Commentari de Bello Gallico, calling them rustic, hard, and tireless. Translation: the OG war horses. The Ardennes are even thought to descend from the prehistoric Solutre horse, bred on the Ardennes plains for over 2,000 years. Roman emperors used them in heavy cavalry, and later Napoleon added Arabian bloodlines to give them more stamina before marching them into his Russian campaign. Fast forward to the 19th century. Belgian draft blood gave the Ardennes its bulkier, heavy-set frame. That added size turned them into true draft monsters, though it came at the cost of some endurance. By 1929, they had their own breed registry, and today they're one of Europe's oldest documented heavy draft lines. In RDR2, we have stats like 3 speed, 3 acceleration, 7 health, and 5 stamina. Slower than Arthur writing in his journal, but absurdly tanky. The Bay Roan and Strawberry Roan coats are both stable buys. The Strawberry Roan costs $450, but it also packs the best health. Basically, you're paying extra for the horse equivalent of maxed out armor. Gameplay-wise, these are some of the most dependable war horses in the game. They don't spook, they don't fold under pressure, and they'll carry Arthur through chaos while he's out here dual-wielding like he's in Red Dead Warzone. So yeah, if you want speed, look elsewhere. But if you want the closest thing to mounting a medieval siege engine, the Ardennes is your horse. Slower than molasses, tougher than Caesar's cavalry. Missouri Fox Trotter. The Missouri Fox Trotter. Expensive as hell at $950, but honestly, worth every dollar of Arthur's blood money. Stats: 7 speed, 5 acceleration, 5 health, and 6 stamina. That makes it one of the rare hybrids in RDR2, both a racehorse and a workhorse rolled into one. It's fast, it's sturdy, and it doesn't burn out halfway through a ride. Basically, the definition of an endgame horse. Foxtrotters also have a lively gait, so Arthur doesn't bounce around like he's riding a pogo stick on long trips. They come in amber champagne and silver dapple pinto coats, both stabled, both looking slick enough to flex on your posse. Now, here's where it gets cooler. The breed was developed in Missouri from horses settlers brought over from Tennessee. Kentucky and Virginia mix in bloodlines from Arabians, Morgans, American saddlebreds, Tennessee walkers, and standardbreds. And you've got yourself a horse built for rocky Ozark terrain. By the 1800s, cattlemen loved them for their smooth gaits and versatility. By 1948, the Missouri Fox Trotting Horse Breed Association was founded, and by the 1950s, they were already being exported to Europe. Even the Queen of England imported a few. By 2002, they were named the official state horse of Missouri, and today there are tens of thousands registered worldwide. They've even got their own European Association and championship shows. So yeah, the Missouri Fox Trotter is the ultimate outlaw upgrade. If your wallet survives the price tag, Turkoman. The Turkoman, $950 of pure outlaw prestige. Stats: 6 speed, 5 acceleration, 7 health, and 5 stamina. Basically, it's Rockstar's way of saying, congrats, you've grinded enough money, here's your almost perfect horse. The Turkoman is another hybrid, fast enough to win races, tough enough to drag Arthur through wars, stamina for days, great handling, and the kind of health that lets you ride into chaos and still walk out smug. Its only flaw? Impatience. Leave it standing around too long and it starts acting like your little brother in a loading screen. Coats come in dark bay, gold, and silver. All are stable bought, all are gorgeous, and all will burn a hole in Arthur's wallet. But honestly, worth every cent. Now, history-wise, the Turkoman or Turkmen is an oriental horse breed straight out of the steppes of Central Asia. These things were endurance machines. Slender bodies, long muscular legs, and stamina that made them legends. Their influence is everywhere. The English Thoroughbred? Yeah, that bloodline traces back to the Byerly Turk, one of the Turkoman stallions brought into Europe. Even the Achaltiket, the shiny metallic horse you've seen in reels, is considered a descendant. In fact, the Turkoman was so valuable that Ottoman stables in the 17th century treated them like royal treasures, breeding and trading them across Asia and Europe. Sadly, the original Turkoman has been declared extinct, but its DNA lives on in modern breeds. So, yeah, in real life, they shaped racing history. In Red Dead Redemption 2, they're the second best horse you can own. Pricey? Absolutely. But once you've got one, it feels like Arthur just unlocked legendary gear tier. The golden middle ground, built for speed, built for war, and built to flex. Arabian. The Arabian is basically the crown jewel of RDR2. Stats: 6 speed, 6 acceleration, 5 to 7 health, and 5 to 7 stamina. And with elite handling, this thing rides smoother than Arthur's charm on a good honor run. Arabians are fiery and hard to tame, but once you do, they're the kind of companion you'll keep until the very end of the game. Fast, smart, insanely loyal, and the best all-around stats in RDR2. Basically, this is Rockstar's version of congrats, you've unlocked the final boss horse. Coats include the black and rose gray bay in stables, but the rare white Arabian? That's found wild, northwest of Lake Isabella, and taming it is a test of patience. Spook it once and you'll be chasing it through the snow like an idiot while Arthur cusses under his breath. Arabians aren't cheap either, $1,050 to $1,250 depending on the coat, which means you'll either be grinding missions or robbing trains like an equine-obsessed maniac just to afford one. Now for the history flex. The Arabian horse is one of the oldest breeds in the world, with roots tracing back over 3,000 years to the deserts of the Middle East. Distinctive head, high tail carriage, you can spot one instantly. They were prized by the Bedouins who even brought them inside tents for shelter. Bred for speed, endurance, and loyalty, they became the foundation for countless other horse breeds worldwide. Arabians shaped empires, carried warriors across continents, and were traded as treasures between kings and sultans. From ancient Egypt to the Ottoman Empire, these horses were literally currency, diplomacy, and prestige all in one. And in modern times, they dominate endurance riding and remain one of the most popular breeds on the planet. So yeah, historically legendary, globally adored, and genetically elite. In RDR2, they're exactly what you expect from the #1 spot. The best damn horse in the game. The white Arabian isn't just a horse, it's the flex that proves you've made it.